Well, Krishnan, the president was visibly moved when he visited the scene behind me here and spoke to an audience earlier. He named each of the 10 victims who died here by name, and he spoke of one of them, a 53-year-old man who he said was simply in the supermarket buying birthday cake for his 3-year-old child. You could see the president at that moment holding back the tears. The president described what happened here as domestic terrorism and said white supremacy was a poison on this nation. Let's hear from President Biden now.
Evil will not win, I promise you. Hate will not prevail, and white supremacy will not have the last word.
Well, one of the family members the president met with was Garnell Whitfield, who is mourning the death of his 86-year-old mother, Ruth Whitfield. Well, earlier I sat down with Mr. Whitfield and I started by asking him about the memory of his mother.
She advocated for the least of these. She spoke truth to power. She unapologetically was our mother and was a proud black woman. Unapologetically. I am emotional.
You should be.
I'm hurt.
I know.
I'm devastated.
I know.
But you're talking about my mother. You're talking about other people's loved ones. These are human beings. We can't keep doing this. I'm not going to focus on this 18-year-old. He was birthed by this system of hate, of bigotry, of discrimination.
Are you angry?
I'm very angry.
We don't feel anger here in Buffalo. Why are we not seeing, you're saying you're deciding to speak out?
What would you have them do? People are angry. People are hurt. People are hurt. And I guess until we scream to stop killing us, until, you know, and then we're the bad people. We're the bad people when we say don't kill us anymore. You know, anger is a part of the grief process, and we have a right to be mad. And I'm going to stay mad. Every day in this country, in this city, people are dying for no reason.
There's been lots of criticism overnight about Republican politicians, about the former president, all of whom espouse the hate that you speak of, the replacement theories.
I don't want to be...
The people on the Tucker Carlsons of this world.
I don't want to be disrespectful.
Would you point the finger at them?
I'm not going to devolve and focus on him, because the problem is much bigger than that. And the people and the systems that are driving this is the problem. Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump, I'm not being disrespectful, but they mean nothing to me.
But you are meeting today, President Biden, coming here. What are you going to say to him today?
You know, the president's going to be here. This is not the first time this has happened in America. It happens every day. It's happening every day. There's something wrong with this. There's something wrong with it. We can't just keep chasing it around, taking pictures, and going on to the next one. That's what we're doing now, and nothing is changing. Who's gonna stop this? I spent my whole life loving her, trying to protect my family from this world. We weren't able to do that. There's a hole in our hearts. We weren't able to do that. We don't want this to happen to anybody else. People shouldn't have to go through this.
To your father, how is he?
She was his hope. He looked forward to seeing her every day. She's the only thing he had. And she's gone. She's all he had. We can't take her place. Nobody can take her place.
Garnell Whitfield talking to Siobhan. Well, joining me now is the Reverend Mark Blue, who's president of the Buffalo branch of the civil rights organization, the NAACP, and he's one of the people who met President Biden earlier today. Reverend Blue, thanks for joining us. We heard the president in public talking about white supremacy and domestic terrorism. When you met him, did you talk about what's feeding it?
Well, one of the things that we have to do, we cannot tolerate this any longer. Why are we the innocent victims of this? And this idiot, this individual, this imbecile, this one who came to direct discord in our community, he should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. President Biden came and he gave a moving speech. He was very emotional about it. I believe he felt what we felt. with his son going through what he had to go through. But here it is. We're dealing with racism. We're dealing with it at its core. And we have to stop this cancer. We have to stop this and not allow it to be a plague that will harm us and hinder us anymore. There needs to be legislation passed, anti-legislation passed against killing black Americans. We had one that just passed against killing Asian Americans. How come we don't have one to deal with black Americans? How come we're still dealing with the voter rights bill that was gutted by the Supreme Court? We need to get that back on course. The John Lewis Voter Rights Act also needs to be incorporated as well. I'm tired of going to funerals. I'm tired of having to deal with this subject. If the president cannot lead to do this, we are in trouble. We need to get those. It doesn't matter whether they're Republican or Democrat. We need to get them on one accord.
And those are the systemic.
If it happened to their family.
Those are, sorry to interrupt, but those are the systemic issues that Mr. Whitfield was talking about too. But the things that feed the racism that you are suffering are on TV in America every day. They're on social media, they're in the media, they're in politics, they're in mainstream politics. What are you going to do about that?
Absolutely. Well, we need to continue to deal with media in general, not just the internet, because when we look at how African Americans are being portrayed in the videos, in the movies, we need to deal with that issue. It's a systemic issue. When we look at the stereotype of African Americans, they're never in a position of power. They're never in a position to which people will aspire to be. They're always depicted as low individuals, low Americans, and media in general has done that. We have denigrated the African American male and female as depicting them as being low to nothing. How come as African Americans we have to be twice as smart, work twice as hard in order to be even looked at for promotions and jobs, in order to be looked at for even getting a home loan? There's been redlining that has been dealing with and plaguing our country for a long period of time. I was talking with one of our pastor friends who came back from Vietnam. He did not see one counselor to give him any hope when he came back from Vietnam, because they dealt with the atrocities even worse than this. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to cut you off. We could talk for a long time, but I'm sorry we're limited in time tonight. Thank you very much for joining us.